to today's episode of The Human Angle. On today's episode, we're bringing you updates on Unity School's non-participation in the scheduled WAEC exams, UN's warning reports of a surge in the trafficking of substandard marks and other dares, domestic flight operations resumption in Lagos and Abuja, Borno's hire of 150 nurses and 19 doctors, and 5 ways your working life might change after the pandemic. We begin with the first update that the Minister of Education, Mr. Adamu, has announced that no Unity School will participate in the scheduled WAEC exams. Mr. Adamu stated this after the Federal Executive Council yesterday, where he said that none of the schools under his ministry will resume until schools are considered safe. The minister urged the West African Examination Council and state governments to reconsider the decision to open for the exams. Lives are at risk as the coronavirus pandemic has led to a surge in the trafficking of substandard masks, sanitizers, and other medical products, the UN has warned. Organized criminal groups exploiting fears and uncertainties surrounding the virus are providing such products to cater to a sudden surge in demand and the supply gap, the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime said in a report yesterday. UNODC said it expected criminals to shift their focus to vaccine-related trafficking once one was developed. Fraud and scams as well as cyber attacks targeting critical infrastructure have followed the spread of the virus, it added. Health and lives are at risk with criminals exploiting the COVID-19 crisis to cash in on public anxiety and increased demand for personal protective equipment and medications. Transnational organized crime groups take advantage of gaps in national regulation and oversight to peddle substandard and falsified medical products. An Interpol-coordinated operation to target illegal online sales of medicines and medical products with participation of 90 countries in March led to 121 arrests worldwide and the seizure of substandard and fake face masks, as well as more than $14 million worth of potentially dangerous pharmaceutical products, the report said. UNODC has called for increased international cooperation, strengthened legal frameworks and penalties, and more training for those who work in the medical products sector, saying only a common approach will enable effective responses. Flight operations in Lagos State and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have resumed after over 3 months of being shut down following the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yesterday, with a low turnout, passengers were seen wearing face masks, observing social distancing, and adhering to other COVID-19 protocols. Queues were formed with strict physical distancing rules from the check-in counters through to the boarding area, as temperature readings were also taken. All passengers were wearing face masks. In Abuja, passengers were also seen arriving at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport to board flights to Lagos. It has been gathered that only 5 airlines have been given approval to fly. The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 gave the go-ahead for the commencement of domestic flights following approval by the President. The Environment Department of the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria on Tuesday was seen decontaminating the domestic terminals of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, in preparation for the resumption of the domestic flights. On July 1st, the Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, announced that the Abuja and Lagos airports will resume domestic operations on July 8th, while the Kano, Port Harcourt, Owerri, and Maiduguri airports will resume on the 11th. Other airports are also expected to resume operations on the 15th, and a date for the international airports will be announced in due course. In another development, the Borno State government is hiring nurses and doctors to address the shortfall of health personnel in the state. The Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, revealed this at the ESCO chamber of the Government House, Maiduguri, while inaugurating a technical committee that will work towards the establishment of a medical college and a teaching hospital in order for Borno State University to begin programs in medicine and surgery. The decision is hinged upon recommendations presented by the state chapter of the Nigerian Medical Association, calling for, amongst other things, an urgent rejuvenation of the health sector. The current realities in the face of the coronavirus pandemic has highlighted lapses in the health sector which must be addressed. The government has directed the recruitment of 150 nurses, 19 doctors, 133 retired nurses and midwives, and all retirees both from the state hospitals and the federal government like the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, who are healthy and healthy and can function effectively, to also be recruited. Other recommendations include creating a medical college and a teaching hospital in the Borno State University, established in 2016. The establishment of the medical college and the teaching hospital at this time, according to him, will boost the chances of Borno State indigenes meeting their dreams of becoming medical doctors. We must help them to realize this, and money otherwise expended in hiring medical doctors or training them outside the country shall be utilized for other equally important purposes or projects, he noted. Aside the teeming population in IDP camps and rural areas in Borno State in need of medical care, the prevalence of coronavirus has further overstretched lean medical resources available. Since April, when the index case was recorded, some 555 people have contracted the virus, 470 persons have recovered, while 33 deaths have been recorded, leaving the number of active cases at 85. Remote working has increased dramatically during the COVID-19 pandemic. From commuting to video calls, there are 4 trends that could shape the future of working. According to the World Economic Forum, we are experiencing the biggest remote work experiment in history, but many are beginning to imagine life after the lockdown. Amid unprecedented global job losses, concerns about transport infrastructure, and the continuing need for workplace social distancing, governments are launching back-to-work plans. Here are the 4 key trends that will shape the future of how we work. Number 1 will be commuting will change forever. We miss the social interaction of the office, but most won't miss commuting. The second will be the bad email etiquette that won't be tolerated. The workplace communication is rapidly transforming, and email is a case in point. More than ever, creating a clear separation between work and leisure time is vital. Research repeatedly shows that sending out of hours emails is not only bad etiquette, but creates a cohesive work culture that requires people to be available 24/7. Social scientists argue this turns into worker-smartphone hybrids and causes stress and burnout. Expecting quick answers to email is increasingly seen as bullying. Many now realize that colleagues might need to work flexibly due to caring responsibilities. The lockdown has encouraged a new acceptance of flexibility, but this shouldn't extend to having a culture that expects people to be available all the time. Number 3 will be video calls will be limited. Zoom calls will remain part of our lives, but we will change and adapt how we use them. Research shows that video calls are more draining and tiring than in-person meetings. While video calls are appropriate for some meetings, we don't need to use them for all our communications. Research suggests many are shifting back to phone calls, which, as one manager explains, feels more spontaneous and flows better. Lastly, will be more co-working spaces will emerge. Before COVID-19 hit, co-working spaces were projected to increase more than 40% worldwide. The paradox of remote working is that people crave the flexibility, but know that being around others boosts productivity. Research shows that over time, remote workers crave the physical closeness that comes with just being alongside other people. And that brings us to the end of today's edition of The Human Angle. You could send in your videos and pictures to us at news@polshareng.com or programs@polshareng.com, and let's share your experience and views. Visit our website www.polshareng.com to get more updates from our news stories and videos. Don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms showing on the screen for further updates on our market reports. Till tomorrow, thank you for watching, and please keep staying safe.